Hey everyone, it's Mrs. McTutor. Today I just want to review some literary elements for you. Sometimes we just need a little refresher on the literary elements. So I want to talk about some of the most common ones that we see in literature, that we tend to talk about, use in our writing, and show up often on different types of tests, like ELA tests and Regents exams. The most common, I think, is definitely characterization. Characterization is simply the development of a character. So how is the author developing that character? When you really get a sense of what type of person that character is, the author is using characterization. So if it is something that they say or something that they do or things that they think, that's all through characterization. Okay, so here's a simple example. Barbara was a kind person who always helped others. She donated food to the needy and she volunteered at the soup kitchen every week. So we get a little bit of a sense of what type of person Barbara is, and that is one small example of characterization. Okay, conflict is definitely something you want to be familiar with. We usually speak of internal conflict versus external conflict. Here we'll start with internal conflict, which is a problem someone has within himself. One of those situations where someone is thinking, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. That's when you see an internal conflict. And an example I have here for you. If I tell Anna's mother, Anna will never speak to me again. Everyone will be mad at me. But if I don't tell, Anna might not be okay. She could even die. I don't know what to do. Okay, so here we have a clear internal conflict. Whereas an external conflict is a problem or struggle outside of a person. An argument, a physical fight, someone trying to survive a situation, someone who feels that society is against them. These are all types of external conflicts. Here's a simple argument that would easily be classified as an external conflict. You don't understand. You never understand, Mom. All you do is care about yourself, Antonia. You never do anything to help the family. How can you say that, Mom? Everything I do is for the family. Okay, so a basic argument example here would be a good example of external conflict. Okay, point of view. Oftentimes I hear people misusing point of view because, we talk about point of view a lot in life. What is Mrs. McTutor's point of view, about homework? Should we have homework? What's her point of view? What is my opinion on that? When we're talking about point of view as a literary term, we're really talking about first person, second person, third person point of view. So you want to make sure that you're using it in that way. So it's the perspective from which a story is told. The first person point of view, that's the one that we remember when we see the story is being told from the I perspective. The narrator is a character in the story. So you see, I went with my friends to the beach where we met our friends and spent the day swimming, right? So the narrator is I telling the story from that character's point of view. Okay, whereas the second person, this one seems to be a little bit less common, so many tend to forget about this one. The second person is when the story is being told directly to a person. It's as though someone's speaking to you. When you see you, which oftentimes comes in recipes, I think, directions, the text is speaking directly to you. For instance, first, you have to read all the directions carefully. Then you have to take out all of your ingredients. Next, you have to fill your large pot with water and put it on the stove. Okay, that would be an example of second person point of view. Third person point of view is when we have an outside narrator. And so we don't hear the perspective coming from I. We don't have the you. It's an outside narrator who's not a character in the story. And so we see he, she, they, characters' names. Joseph and his friends cooked for their families all day. They made chicken and vegetables, and they even baked a cake. It would be third person point of view. Imagery is always one of my favorites. Imagery is very descriptive language used in literature. You really do want to see quite a lot of details, oftentimes with the five senses present. When you see something really written with details, that's when we're seeing imagery. In this example, Andrew walked down the empty street as the sky became darker. He could smell the dinners cooking in the cozy warm houses as he passed. The crunch of the leaves beneath his feet was the only sound he could hear. Right, so we could really get a pretty good picture of this scene, and that's done through imagery. So there's enough description here that we could qualify this as imagery. Okay, tone. We're going to talk about tone and mood. Many people confuse tone and mood. And I could definitely see why people would confuse these. So let's just try to straighten this out a little bit. Okay, tone. Tone is the author's attitude about a subject. So think that tone is coming from the author, coming from the writer, coming from the speaker. Okay, that's where tone is coming from. You see humorous tone, serious tone, frustrated tone. Okay, but it's coming from the writer, from the speaker. Here's an example. This would be an example where there's a speaker present, okay? Perhaps a teacher in front of the classroom who says this: "Everyone here is very smart, and everyone is able to do well in this class. It's going to be a great year, and we're all going to succeed." So clearly the tone here is a very positive, very encouraging tone. Sometimes you might be reading maybe an article perhaps where a writer is writing in a magazine. They seem to be frustrated that people are not believing in climate change. So you might sense the frustrated tone of the writer as you're reading that article. Okay, so its tone comes from the author, comes from the speaker. Whereas mood, think about how the audience feels. The audience feels is the mood. So the feeling that's created by the story. So what impact is it having? The audience feels sad because there's a sad mood. Okay, the audience feels excited. The audience feels calm, relaxed. This would be a mood. So the feeling created by the story, how the audience is feeling, is mood. The rain continued to fall as Catherine cried on her brother's shoulder all day. She could not even speak. When she tried to talk, only sobs came from deep inside her. Right? So how is the audience feeling reading these words? Okay, there's a mood that was created here, a sad, somber mood. Setting is one most of us typically remember, where and when a story takes place. Sometimes it's very specific. Sometimes you just get a little bit of it, maybe when or where, or something very general. It was a hot summer day in New York City. So sometimes that's all you get. It's maybe possibly summer. It's maybe in the city. It doesn't always get more specific than that, although sometimes it is. And theme. Theme is a message or meaning in literature. The theme of the story is that loving your family is the most important thing. The theme of the story is that money cannot buy happiness, right? So when you read a text, look for the message or the meaning that's in there, and that would be your theme, okay? Oftentimes we can make a sentence out of it, a statement out of it. Loving your family is the most important. Money cannot buy happiness. Okay, that would be the theme. Diction. Diction is definitely one of my favorites. I notice many people don't know what diction is, but this one's very easy and fun. An author's choice of words, right? Authors can choose any word to make their ideas come across, but what words does the author actually choose to use is diction. The baby continued to laugh. His eyes shined with joy as he listened to the happy words of his mother reading to him with love. And you could see I underlined certain words like laugh, shined, joy, happy, love, right? So the author's word choice here is having an impact on us. We're getting that sense of happiness, that joyful moment, and it's created through diction. So you could see how sometimes, mood goes together with diction, or mood is created by diction, right? They definitely go together. And of course, we have some figurative language, such as a simile. A simile is a comparison of two things using the word like or as, right? So when you're comparing two things and you have like or as, that would be the simile. When he shouted, his voice was like thunder. Whereas a metaphor is still a comparison, but without using the word like or as. She is an angel. If we wanted to make this metaphor into a simile, we would just have to include like or as. You know, she is as lovely as an angel. She is as gentle as an angel. She is like an angel. That would be a simile. Okay, but here she is an angel. That's a metaphor. Typically a little bit stronger, a little bit more impact when you take out like or as. Personification, for many students I have, this is their favorite one, when you give human characteristics to something that's not human. So the ocean waves danced under the summer sun. Can ocean waves really dance? Well, ocean waves don't have legs and arms like humans do. So, of course, this is figurative language. It's personification because we're giving human characteristics like dancing to something that is not human, like the ocean. And hyperbole, which is an extreme exaggeration used to make a point. Who doesn't love hyperbole? I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. Mrs. McTutor will never stop talking. This class is never going to end. I haven't eaten in like 10 years, right? Any of those things where we make a very great exaggeration in order to make our point is an example of hyperbole. Pronounced hyperbole, not hyperbole. I know everyone likes to say that sometimes. Okay, symbolism. Most of us are comfortable with symbolism. When you see an object in literature that represents something. Now, this one is a little bit cliche. I think a red rose symbolizes love, right? So when you see that red rose show up in a poem or in a story or in real life, many people associate it with love. Sometimes you might see a white dove, you know, people would associate that with peace. In much of the literature that we read, there is an item that represents something, and that would be symbolism. Irony is when the opposite of what you expect happens. It's one of those situations where you're like, that's weird. That's surprising. Oh, I didn't expect that. It's just like one of those weird situations where it's completely opposite of what you expect. Here's an example. Michael wanted to go to the beach with his friends, so he told his boss he couldn't work because he was sick. It was ironic that Michael never got to go to the beach because he was in his bathroom sick all day. You know, one of those situations like, oh my goodness, you made up a lie and said that you were sick because you wanted to go to the beach, and then you actually ended up getting sick. Oh my goodness, that's so ironic, right? There's not a pleasant example of irony, but definitely an example of irony. Repetition, of course, is the repeating of a word or phrase in literature, right? Sometimes we see a phrase that just kind of keeps coming up, keeps coming back. And that's done for emphasis, right? They just want to emphasize a certain idea. It was love that made me stay. I loved him. I still love him. And love is why I'll wait for him. Okay, again, a little bit of a simple example, but definitely whenever you see something repeating, it's repetition, and it's done for a reason, really to emphasize a certain idea. So watch for that. All right, so the words included in this PowerPoint are some of the most common literary elements that you see in literature that you can use when you're writing. They definitely show up many times on ELA exams and definitely the Regents exam. I see these terms come up often. But definitely, most importantly, it does make for more interesting writing. So I definitely encourage you to incorporate these in your own writing. If you found this video lesson was helpful, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button, and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep making these videos as long as you find them helpful. Okay, and you can go ahead and follow me if you like on, I'm on a few things now. Instagram, Mrs. McTutor. I have a Twitch account, Mrs. McTutor, and even TikTok now, Facebook, Twitter. I kind of made the rounds, so feel free to follow me any way you like, Mrs. McTutor, and I'm going to be making more videos. All right, so hope this was helpful. Take care.